Hello everyone, my name is Ogeneti Mamogo and you are welcome to Oaks Chem Academy. Now if you are new to my channel, kindly hit the subscription button below, also like, share and of course avail yourself to the lesson so as not to be left behind. Welcome back. So in today's class, we're going to be learning naming of chemical compounds. But when learning how to name chemical compounds, you first have to learn the rules as applied or applicable to chemical compounds. Okay? But first things first, what are compounds? We have previously learned that compounds are the combination of two or more elements chemically joined together. So a compound is the combination of two or more elements chemically joined together. So that's what a compound is. So under naming of chemical compounds, we'll be talking about naming molecular compounds, ionic compounds, and we also have organic compounds. But for the sake of this lesson, we're going to be focusing on molecular compounds and ionic compounds. So what are molecular compounds? Molecular compounds are those compounds formed by the combination of two or more non-metallic atoms which are covalently bonded. So a molecular compound is a compound formed by the combination of two or more non-metallic compounds that are covalently bonded. So we have some rules when naming molecular compounds. Okay, so for the first rule, we said add a prefix to each of the elements. So when naming molecular compounds, add a prefix to each of the elements. Now a prefix is used to indicate the number of atoms present in that compound. A prefix is used to indicate the number of atoms present in a compound. So for example, we have, and now we said add a prefix to each of the elements based on the number of atoms. We have CO2. So this 2 is used to indicate that there are two oxygen atoms present in this compound. So the name of this compound is carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide. The 2 is what? Di. That is a prefix. So a prefix is used. So it said add a prefix to each of the elements based on the number of atoms. So because there are two oxygen atoms present, we call this dioxygen. I hope you understand that. So for the second example, for the second rule, we said the prefix mono is only used for the second non-metal. The prefix mono is only used for the second non-metal, like in the case of what? CO2. So we do not use a prefix for the first element. No, there is nothing like monocarbon dioxide. Okay, so a prefix is only used for the second element, which is usually a non-metal. So this is carbon dioxide. I hope you understand that. So for the third rule, we said no prefix is added if there is only one of the first atom. No prefix is added if there is only one of the first atom. So, for example, we have CO and NO. So because only one atom is present here, we already know that in chemistry we do not write one. So there is no need for mono. There is no need for a prefix because there is only one of the first atom. I hope you understand that. So it's only when it is more than one that a prefix is necessary. I hope you understand that. So for the fourth rule, it says avoid having two vowels in a row. Avoid having two vowels in a row. What are vowels? Your A, E, I, O, U. So these are your vowels in English language. So avoid having two vowels in a row. So for example, CO is carbon monoxide, not monoxide. So you see that there are two O's here. So because we have to comply with this rule, one of these O must be removed. Remember, O is a vowel. One of these O must be removed. And so the compound is not carbon monoxide. It is simply carbon monoxide. So just one O. So please take note of that. Whenever there are two vowels in a row, one of the vowels must be removed. When we say in a row, we mean back to back. I hope you understand that. So that's for the fourth rule. Now for the fifth rule, it says the second element's name ends in IDE. The second element's name ends in IDE. So for example, we have sodium chloride. So this is sodium, this is chlorine. Now, in complying with this rule, chlorine becomes chloride, IDE. So that the last element in that compound, the name must change to IDE. So sodium chloride. We also have bromide from MgBr. So it becomes magnesium bromide, not magnesium bromine. It becomes magnesium bromide, IDE. So please take note of that. And then once you have done all this, the last rule is write the name of the compound. So write the name of the compound. I hope this makes sense to you. Okay, so please take out time to learn these rules. So but we'll be moving on to how to name, or the rules that apply when naming ionic compounds. But first things first, what are ionic compounds? So ionic compounds are those compounds consisting of ions. Ionic compounds are those compounds consisting of what? Ions. So we have anions and cations. Now what are our cations? Our cations are elements carrying what? A positive charge. So anions, rather cations, carry a positive charge. And the reason they carry a positive charge is because they are electron donors. They donate electrons, hence they have a positive charge. While your anions are negatively charged, so they carry a negative charge. And the reason they carry a negative charge is because they withdraw or accept electrons. So they are electron pair acceptors. I hope you understand that. So we have cations and what? Anions. So we said ionic compounds are compounds that consist of what? Ions. So these are the rules when naming ionic compounds. So let's look at them very quickly. When naming ionic compound, we said name the cation first, then the anion. So you're going to name the cation first, then the anion. And please take note, your cations are your metals, oftentimes. So your cations are your metals, they carry a positive charge because why? They donate electrons. So when you are naming chemical compounds, you will name the cation first. An example of that is NaCl, okay? Sodium chloride. So the sodium is named first because what? It is the cation. So it is named first, followed by the chlorine. So please, you must name your cation first because it carries a positive charge before your words and ion. So that is the first thing. So for the second rule, it says don't include charges in the name. Don't include charges in the name. So the charges when naming a compound is not important. So for example, when you have PO4 3-, this is simply phosphate. So we don't really take into cognizance the charge when naming the compound. Okay, so it is simply phosphate. So the charge plays no role in naming the compound. Okay, except when we're calculating oxidation number, but that is not for this lesson. So please take note, don't include the charges in the name. Then for our third rule, we said use Roman numerals to indicate the charge of the cation. Use Roman numerals to indicate the charge of the cation. Remember, we said our cations are what? Metals. So for example, we have iron 3 chloride. Okay, iron 3 chloride. So this 3 indicates that the charge of the ion is 3. That is, the oxidation number of the ion is what? 3 for this compound. So use Roman numerals in parentheses, that is bracket, to indicate the charge of the cations. So please take note of that. Then for our fourth rule, we said name polyatomic ions by their names. So name polyatomic ions by their names. So I give an example just now. PO4. This is an example of a polyatomic ion, and this is what? Phosphate. Phosphate. So even in combination with another element, it retains its name. So I also gave an example of that with the instruction, with the rule, and we said example NaCO3. So this is a carbonate group. So it must maintain its name. It's a polyatomic ion. So it becomes sodium carbonate. Okay, so it retains its name. Also, we have calcium and PO4. So this is calcium phosphate. So the name does not change. So please take note, polyatomic ions must be named using their names. Okay? And then we said, please take notes to learn, take time to learn your polyatomic ions. So learn them by heart. We have the phosphate group, carbonate, sulfate, we have oxide, we have ammonium. I talked about this in my previous lesson. It is titled Elements, the Atomic Number and Valency. Please, if you are yet to watch that video, kindly check it out in my channel, and I'm sure it will be very helpful to you. So please learn your polyatomic ions by heart, and it's very useful in naming chemical compounds. So once we have done that, lastly, write the name of the compound. So once you have obeyed these rules, write the name of the compound. I hope that is okay. But before we conclude this lesson, prefixes used in naming covalent compounds. So what are these prefixes that we've been talking about previously? So we have mono, mono is 1. We have di, di is 2. We have tri, tri is 3. We have tetra, tetra is 4. We have penta, penta is 5. We have hexa, hexa is 6. We have hepta, hepta is 7. We have octa, octa is 8. We have nona, nona is 9. And then we have deca, which is 10. So these are the prefixes used to indicate the number of atoms in a compound of an element. I hope that is okay. So please, if you have watched this video to this point and you are yet to give us a thumbs up, please do so. Also, share this video to your community of students and friends. Please, if you are yet to subscribe, what are you waiting for? I will see you in my next class. Till then, I remain your tutor, Ogenete Jiro Mamogo. Have a wonderful day.